Not too long ago, Facebook and Twitter were a mystery to big business outside of tech. Of course, today virtually everyone has a profile page or at least a Twitter account. But how do you get from the basic level to really unlocking the power of social media? Well, we went to the Smash Summit to talk to some of the early adopters at Cisco, Comcast, and Virgin America, and this is what they had to say. Social media, of course, is about pushing out your content and interacting with the rest of the world. But when it comes to the internal corporate culture, there are shifts that are taking place as well because of that new integration. Have you noticed anything at Cisco?
Oh yeah, I mean, we basically have to relearn how we do things, how we communicate. And it's no longer the polished marketing brochure or the polished website. I mean, conversations are happening, like our employees are going out and having their own conversations, which we want to encourage. But we want to educate them too on how to do that. One of the things that we did to solve that, or help solve that, is we just rolled out a social media certification program, which is open to all employees.
We're going to see a real big shift with employees, whether it be employees talking externally or even talking internally. I think there's going to be new tools that come out, but I also think it's going to be a new way of having a little bit more power than they did before. And so companies are going to have to figure out a whole new game plan and change their culture. I think companies are going to be much different 2 years from now than they are today. So those of us in social media, we get it. We see what's going on around the world, and we always say the world's a smaller place because of it. Companies are going to be a smaller place.
It's not system-wide yet. It's definitely at the corporate level, and we have our marketing team on board, communications team on board, human resources, guest services. The more and more each week another team gets on board, and we got revenue planning, our revenue management on board. So it's definitely growing, and it's changing over time, and we've gotten a lot of momentum.
There's a lot of companies, big and small, that haven't quite figured out Facebook or Twitter. What are they doing wrong?
This is where companies mess up.
Yeah.
They look for ROI, and if you're in marketing, your ROI is sales, or it might be retention, or it might be, hey, who clicked through, or how many people clicked through on this link. The real approach to ROI in this space is get all these groups together, PR, marketing, HR, IT, and talk through what is important to you. So we get a huge return on investment by when we listen to these things and then we enact or fix things because of what we're listening to. The dollars are huge, and you could have a 30-minute event that pays for my team for well over a year.
They're focusing on the tools and like, oh, I got to have a Facebook presence, and not really stepping back and looking at what are the business objectives behind that, and what are you trying to do, and then how are you going to leverage the right tools, whether it be Facebook or Twitter or others, to accomplish that goal.
What is your bold prediction for this integration between social media and company websites?
Long term, it's like thinking of what Amazon has done, but times 1,000. Where everything's connected. You can see your reviews, your recommended, hey, people who saw this also went here, and everything is more connected. And in Facebook and Twitter, all usernames, I can, once you log in with Facebook, it can tie into all of your registrations. You don't have to keep logging into all these different sites. So I mean, I think that's where eventually it's going to get. And
what about for Cisco specifically? What will you be doing in about a year or maybe 2 years that you're not doing today?
One of the things we're working on within the next few months is just incorporating some of our social presence more into Cisco.com and allowing the conversations to actually happen on our website too, not just that you have to go to Facebook and Twitter, which is a lot like how it is today, but actually turning all of our pages into conversations where you can actually have comments and feedback right there.
It's less about feeding content in and more about just like data integration and using the API tools to make it more of a seamless experience.
I think you're going to see a little bit of a personalization of the brand, of all brands. I think that's going to be pretty important going forward, because I can't connect to a logo, but I can connect to people.